So welcome to Patagonia. Yes, you are still watching The Runa Life, and no, we're not back on the boat just yet. We're due to be going back on the boat in April for the sailing season for the summer, but before that we wanted to do one big adventure with our feet still firmly on the ground. So we're here in Patagonia in Chile, and we're about to do the W Trek.
We've got 5 days of hiking through the Patagonian mountains, and everything we need is on our backs. So it's going to be a slightly different adventure than what you're maybe used to on our channel, but I think this is going to be probably one of our biggest and best adventures yet.
Yeah. Wish us luck.
Let's go.
And this is the epic adventure we have ahead of us. A challenging 80-kilometre trek across the Patagonian wilderness. Travelling east to west on foot to see some of the most spectacular landscapes on this planet. We'll be hiking for multiple days, averaging 20 kilometres per day in near zero temperatures, through valleys, up snow-covered mountains, before hopefully arriving at our finishing point, Paine, Grande. But first, we had to get on a bus to the starting line.
And out of the dirty bus windows, we got our first glimpse of where we're heading. This is Las Torres National Park in Chile's Patagonia region. It's known for its soaring mountains, bright blue icebergs, and golden grasslands.
Okay, so this is our beautiful home for the next 2 nights, complete with a poo, which I think is a guanaco poo, but I have no idea. It's pretty large and not what we want outside our tent, but never mind. And we're spending 2 nights here because tomorrow we're doing an out and back up to go and see Base Torres, so up into the mountains to hopefully have one of the most epic hiking days of our lives.
That night, we met some of the local wildlife before heading to bed, ready for the adventure to begin. And the next morning, we woke to the noise of cowboys rounding up horses and the most amazing sunrise we've ever seen.
Okay, good morning. It is morning 1 of our adventure, and it's cold. Neither of us slept very well because of the temperature. It's below 0 degrees Celsius. We're in thick sleeping bags. But it's, yeah, we felt the cold last night. But it's 7 AM, we're gonna get up, we're gonna get going. We're gonna warm ourselves up with a cup of tea first. And then today we've got about 8 hours of hiking up to one of the summits of the W Trek. So it's gonna be a fun day, it's gonna be exciting. I just hope the sun comes out to warm us up. And with the teas ready, we got dressed and prepared for the day ahead. With a view of where we were heading, and the no pooping rules fully understood, we set off. Our first day would take us from our camping spot and up through a valley between 2 mountains, before gaining altitude to Base Torres, one of the most famous landmarks on our trip.
Today, we expect to be walking for 8 hours, covering 22 kilometres and 2,000 metres of altitude. The first couple of kilometres were through the grasslands on level ground, and we got our first sight of the wild landscapes that we'd be calling home for the next couple of days.
Okay, so we're off. Day 1 of the W Trek. We're doing Base Torres today, which is about a 20k hike. Should take us about 8 hours apparently. So maybe 4 and a bit up, 3 and a bit down. But yeah, we've got fresh legs, feeling good, and it's already pretty beautiful. How you feeling, Andrew?
Yeah, good. My legs are feeling good. I don't know if they'll be feeling like this in a couple of days, but let's go. Well, the sun is finally starting to come up. It is still cold. It's only a couple of degrees above 0, but there's nothing like hiking up a big, steep hill to get your blood pumping. So we're pretty warm now. Yeah, we're making good progress.
But it wasn't long until our efforts were rewarded with a spectacular view.
We're about an hour and a half in, and we've just entered the most spectacular valley. Probably one of the best valleys, most beautiful valleys I've ever seen. It is stunning.
We have discovered the most beautiful valley on this walk. This is a one-person bridge, which isn't fit for many people.
And that is where we're heading. A stunning rock formation called Base Torres. Another 3 hours from our current position. So far, we have begun making good progress up through the valley, progressing towards the midpoint of our trek.
And then we realised, with a bit of jealousy, that instead of hiking up and carrying our own gear, you could ride a horse up. Regardless, we cracked on under our own steam.
So Chile is famous for having pumas, or pumas as the Chileans like to call them. They only typically come out at dawn and dusk, so it's highly unlikely for us to see one. There was a local Chilean guide who lived in Chile her whole life. She said she was 18. She said she comes out on expeditions like this all the time, and she's not once in 18 years seen one. But we're not letting that get us down. We're super hopeful we're going to see one over the next few days.
And I definitely heard one last night in our campsite.
So Ruth just told me, I didn't hear this puma last night, but Ruth just did an impression of what it sounded like. Ruth, what was it? So is that a puma noise? I don't know. And with Ruth scaring off all the pumas with her terrible impression, we began pushing for the top, gaining more altitude with every step. The last hour was a scramble over large boulders, but as we climbed, we got sight of Base Torres and the unbelievable rock formations that have made Patagonia famous. Okay, we've just had about a 2-hour incline. We're nearing the top. Awesome valley, but that is where we're heading.
We made it. We are here at Base Torres, and what a beautiful hike up. It took us about 3.5 hours and wasn't too painful. Quite beautiful through the forest and through the valleys, and then as soon as you get to the top, you just get this spectacular view. Really, really breathtaking.
And we took some time, just Andrew and I, to take in and enjoy such a special moment. But given it was 0 degrees Celsius, it was soon time to get moving again and head back down the mountain.
Oh, we've made it safely down the mountain. We are on the home stretch. We've been walking for 7 hours now.
I'm tired.
Yeah, it's been a big first day. It's about 20 kilometers in total. And we're just heading back to the same campsite as where we were this morning before we set off back to Central.
The best bit about that campsite is it has a bar.
Yeah, it has beer.
So the first thing I do when I get back,
We're having a beer.
well-deserved beer.
Okay, we're tucked up in our tent on our first night, and we didn't actually bring any torches, but instead we brought this. This is a Glomad. You might have seen this. We featured this in our Adventure Gadgets video at the start of the year, and it's one of our favorite things to go adventuring with. This is a torch. It's actually a light bar, an inflatable light bar. So I'm just gonna blow it up. There we go. And then I turn it on. We have a full light bar. How cool is that?
Whew, we are tired. We hiked about 8 hours today, just shy of 8 hours. It was about 22k. Loved every minute of it. It was such a fantastic hike, one of the best hikes I've done in my whole life. But our legs are definitely feeling it now. We're back in the tent. Andrew is on cooking duty. What are you cooking, Andrew?
We're having beef stew and potatoes. We're eating packed food. It's high calorie, high energy food, spaceman food ultimately. But yeah, it's what you gotta do when you're camping and hiking. So
Yeah. Well, we've got a big day tomorrow, so hopefully this gives us enough energy and we get a good night's sleep in our little tent. Good morning. We are on day 2, ready for our next hike. We've got full backpacks today because we're moving campsites, so we're heading along a one-way trek today from Central Campsite to Francis. The trek is right along a lake, so I think it's kind of like an undulating route all the way across a lake down the lakeside, which is hopefully going to be beautiful. We've heard great things about people doing it the other way that we've met here. So yeah, we are ready. I'm just waiting for Andrew to get out of the tent and we are going to get going. Andrew's doing his morning exercises to warm up.
it's cold.
He said it's cold.
Okay, 1 minute down, 5 hours and 59 minutes to go. Let's do this. Well, I wish I had a horse right about now. Ruth, where's our horses?
You are the horse.
I'm the horse. I feel more like a camel right now.
A donkey.
A donkey's more appropriate. I feel like a donkey carrying all our weight. Next time, get horses.
Yeah.
Today we have a 6-hour trek across Patagonia's grasslands, leaving our campsite and heading west along stunning glacier lakes on one side and towering snow-covered mountains on the other. Well, we're all alone today. We are properly in the wilderness. The trail that we did yesterday, Base Torres, it's a very popular hike amongst mountaineers. It's kind of the main one people will come to do, so people come and just do that single hike up to Base Torres. The rest of the W Trek is less popular, or it's more challenging, so less people do it, which means we've got what feels like the whole of Chile to ourselves. It is very magical and very beautiful, and it's nice when it's just us. Got some peace and quiet.
Except for me.
Except for Ruth, who's making lots of noise.
Peace and quiet, except for me.
So we did the main trail, Base Torres, yesterday, and we were so lucky with the weather. It's a lot more overcast today. And as you can see behind me, the mountains are way up there, but it's just covered in cloud. Whereas we're not really gaining much altitude today. We're walking through along the lakeside for about 6 hours. So because we're not gaining altitude, we're not too bothered about the weather. But it does mean it's a lot colder today. there's no sunshine keeping us warm.
So the first thing I noticed when I looked at this landscape was like, it's so similar to Scotland, and it kind of just looks like rolling hills with covered in loads of heather. The reality is it's not soft, luscious heather. This is just a mass of really spiky, really sharp bushes. So if you veer anywhere off the path, you're basically amidst death bushes. Welcome to the field of death.
Luckily, after a couple of cautious hours, we managed to escape the Valley of Death with our lives intact. And after pushing up over a crest, Patagonia treated us to our first meltwater lake.
So one of the things we were quite worried about was the weather. In Patagonia, we've seen so many videos where there's just howling winds that come through, and it's quite common. And you can't plan for it because you book your campsites on certain days, and the days that you're hiking are the days that you're hiking. So I feel so lucky that we've got this perfectly calm day where there's just no wind, and the lake is like a mill pond. Very, very lucky. Beautiful.
And as we passed this lake, we knew we were in for a treat, as every step we took us closer to an even more impressive lake ahead, Lake Nordenskjöld.
Okay, because we're hiking for so long every day, on average we're going to burn about 2,500 to 3,000 calories per day just hiking. So we've got a range of different food with us. Everything is in our bags. Our food for the week is with us. We've got these bars for breakfast. These are 600 calories, these bars, and they're full of protein, full of energy, full of carbohydrates, full of everything you need. This is blueberry and almond, and it's actually pretty good.
How many calories are in it altogether?
600.
Nice. Pretty good for one bar.
Yeah.
And how often do you get a view like this for lunch? I wonder how long it will be before we're bored of eating energy bars for lunch every single day. But with 14 kilometers still to cover, it was time to get moving.
And just look how blue these lakes are. So these lakes are formed way up in the mountains, and the snow and the ice melts from the mountains, and as it forms on the rock and it freezes on the rock, as it melts it takes the minerals from the rock with it, and then these minerals float down into the lake, making it this beautiful blue colour. Stunning, yeah?
As we continued west through the most breathtaking environment, we tackled rocky terrain, waded through streams, and crossed a suspension bridge before we were reunited with that awesome view. Three hours in, and we were making good progress, reaching the midpoint of today's trek through the grasslands and rugged mountain terrain.
Terrifying. Your bright red backpack gave it away. So one of the best things that we've brought on this adventure are these Maverick water bottles. They come with built-in filters on the straw, so meaning I can collect water and it makes it drinkable by killing 99% of bacteria.
Whilst this is glacier water, so this is really fresh, clean water, you don't necessarily need the filter, but it just means that we can fill up from any stream anywhere in the world and we'll be fine. We don't have to worry whether something's drinkable or not. So cheers. And with full water bottles, thanks to Maverick, we headed down the other side of the mountain. And as we trek for another hour, we spotted an opportunity for a quick beach stop. But with the water temperature just above freezing, we didn't stick around for long.
So we're back on top of another hill. You can see the views of the lake again. We've just been going up and down all day, but we're 5.5 hours in, just 30 minutes to go. And up there is, I think, where we're going tomorrow. So at the moment it's pretty covered in cloud, and this whole coastline has been pretty cloudy on the peaks all day. So fingers crossed that those clouds clear, because we want a clear sunny day tomorrow so we just get spectacular views. I cannot wait.
And that is Cerro Paine Grande. And with the daunting view of what's in store for tomorrow, we pushed on knowing that we were nearing our stop for the night.
Yeah! We made it! We're in Francis.
This is Francis Camping, and our camping spot for the night. Thank God. 85. We did it. Well done. Day done. Okay, end of day 2. We are tucked up in our tent. As you can probably tell by our wild attire, it is cold. It's well below zero. And normally we can get pretty warm. We can get a little fire going with our jet boil in the tent, but just nothing is warming us up tonight. It is cold tonight. But it's been a successful day. How far did we go?
17k.
17Ks.
It took us 6 hours.
Yeah.
But that was mainly because it was very much up and down, some quite steep hills.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be quite flat, but it was actually, we gained quite a lot of altitude. That's our light fell over. Ooh. Well, we're going to go to bed and try to stay warm, and we'll see you in the morning.
The next morning, we were woken up by the sound of a family of woodpeckers. This was a first for me, living 36 years and having never seen a woodpecker before. But we couldn't stick around to watch the wildlife all morning. Ahead of us, a monster trekking day.
In part 1, we'll be travelling over 2,000 metres in altitude as we hike through the valley below Cerro Paine Grande and push towards Mirador Británico, a renowned 360-degree panoramic viewpoint of Torres del Paine National Park.
And part 2 will take us further west to our next camping spot. In total, we'll be walking for up to 9 hours, covering 26 kilometres in distance in near sub-zero temperatures.
How are you feeling today, Andrew?
Feeling good. I'm so excited. This is where we're going today. This is our final hike, our final leg of the trip up this big old mountain. I'm so excited. Let's go. Come on.
Day 3. We are feeling good. Our legs are feeling strong. We were well rested last night, and we're about to do the middle peak of the W. So big trek today. In total, it's supposed to take about 8.5 hours. I've ditched my bag at the bottom of the hill because there is a camping spot or a refuge spot where you can drop your bags off. Andrew's very kindly taking up the supplies, so it should be a good hike for me, a harder one for Andrew. But we got 6 hours up to the top of the mountain. How far is it?
6.5k up to the top.
6.5k up to the top. So yeah, it looks beautiful up there. The sun is shining, the clouds have cleared. Yeah, we're in for a good one.
Let's go, I can't wait.
But it wasn't long until we heard something a little bit more sinister.
Where is it? Where is it? The avalanche.
We're about 20 minutes in. We're heading towards the base of the mountain and we keep hearing big rumbles and it's all snow avalanching off the top, as you can see. So I don't think we're getting that close. We're not going to go up into the snowy bit. You need crampons, you need specialist gear, and there's a risk of avalanche. So we're going to go up in between through the mountains, but there's still a risk of avalanche, so kind of hoping I see one.
And with excitement in the air, hoping this will be our most epic day yet, we push towards our first viewpoint. And hey, the view behind us wasn't half bad either.
And before we knew it, Cerro Paine Grande was towering above us.
And it wasn't long until Andrew got to see his avalanche. And before we knew it, it was one after the other.
We just found a river, so we've topped up our water to keep us going. We're about halfway up now. And my goodness, this is by far the most epic views I have ever seen, isn't it? The mountains are just unbelievable. You've got 360-degree views. You've got the lake that we walked along yesterday behind us. It just doesn't look real. It feels like it's something out of Lord of the Rings. But we're now pushing up towards the end of the valley. It's another hour and a half to go maybe. I'm excited to see what's the end of the trail. When you're hiking, you obviously get pretty hot, but every time you stop, you then realize how cold it is. It can't be much more than a couple of degrees Celsius right now. It is cold. I stopped to fix my boots and instantly I just got chills. So Ruth cracked on ahead of me, so I'll try and catch her up and try to warm up a bit.
Passing through this magical forest, I managed to catch up with Ruth right as she came out of the trees to be greeted by a 360-degree view.
Okay, for about the last 2.5 hours, we've been walking through forest, just with glimpses of the mountains. And look at our view now. We've come out into the open space and we can see the mountains. How incredible is this?
And I just took a minute by myself to try and take in what surrounded me. A view like no other I had ever seen before.
hiking for 3 days now, and I didn't think anything could beat yesterday. Yesterday was just absolutely spectacular, but look at where we are now. This is Patagonia, and it is absolutely breathtaking. 360-degree views. It's unbelievable. This is peak. I didn't think this trip could peak anymore, and it is continuing to peak. That bar is just getting set higher and higher and higher. Unbelievable.
And with a final push to the top, we got the best view of them all. So 3 hours down. We've still got another 5.5 hours to go. Most people today are staying at the same campsite that we stayed at last night. So they're doing out and back, which is only 6 hours. We've got a much bigger distance to cover. So we're already on the move again after doing our first peak, but the sun is shining. It's definitely warming up. So let's get going.
And it was a sad feeling, knowing that I'll probably never come back here in my lifetime. I'll never get to enjoy this viewpoint ever again. So with my eyes wide open, I headed down, enjoying every single step I took.
After 5 hours of hiking and covering 1,800 meters of altitude, we got our first glimpse of that stunning lake, which meant we were nearing the start of the second stage of today's hike. Okay, so we have made it up, all the way up and all the way back down in just shy of 6 hours, including about a 20-minute stop at the top. So good progress. It definitely helps not having a bag. We're just enjoying a cup of tea before we do the final leg of the day, another 2.5 hours, but feeling great and having a fantastic day. The second leg started at the base of the valley that we just came down, and then heads another 12 kilometers west around the base of Cerro Paine Grande and to our final destination. And whilst I could have happily sat around drinking tea all day, we were keen to get our backpacks on and get moving. As we crossed the bridge, we got the most beautiful views of where we had just descended from.
Okay, we've descended about 900 meters from that summit where we're sitting, and we're now on the final stretch. We're heading to Paine Grande, which is where we get the ferry out of the national park tomorrow morning. And it's been an epic trip. We've got about 4.5k to go. We're about 7 hours in, about an hour and a half, 2 hours to go. So yeah, we're kind of just soaking up the last few miles as we head to our base for the night. You can still see the mountains in the background. Epic.
But as we made progress towards our camp for the night, we began to notice something a little bit off about all of the trees. Our surroundings had shifted. The 1,000-year-old trees bursting with life and colour had gone, instead replaced by grey, lifeless and dead trees.
A fast-moving wildfire swept through the south in the heart of Patagonia. Flames tore through forests, forcing evacuations and pushing small communities to the edge.
In 2012, wildfires that were started by tourists burning toilet paper ripped through Torres del Paine National Park, further fueled by 100-kilometre winds. The fires destroyed over 17,000 hectares, destroying the native forests, grasslands and shrublands.
But thankfully, over the last decade, enough of it has grown and rejuvenated back to its former glory. And boy, were we thankful. We'd already walked for 2 hours along the side of the first lake before arriving at this viewpoint, bringing our total hiking distance for the day to 26 kilometers so far.
And as we were approaching the end of our expedition, Patagonia came out for its finale, leaving some of its most magical landscapes for the end.
And as we neared our finishing line, we started to think about what we had just completed. We hiked 80 kilometers in just 3 days, adventuring through the most magical and beautiful landscapes we have ever seen.
Okay, so we are nearly 8 hours in. Today we've walked 26k. We hiked up a mountain which was almost 1,000 meters in elevation. We have gone up and down all day, but I think we are about 10 minutes away, because over there is our final destination and final campsite, and then we have completed the W trek. Yes.
So we're at the end of the hiking part of our Patagonian adventure. We've covered about 70 kilometers in 3 days. We've been hiking for over 30 hours consistently. We've gained thousands of meters of elevation, and we've walked through some of the most beautiful landscapes I have ever seen. It has been a trip of a lifetime. It has been a trip I never thought I'd go on, and it has been unbelievable. Ruth said to me, she said, this is the best holiday she's ever had, and it's the best thing we've ever done. Bear in mind, we bought a boat and we've sailed to Med, and this has topped it. This is kind of why we don't live on our boat full time, is because we want to experience things like this. Living on a boat's amazing, but there's also amazing experiences in other parts of the world that we can experience during the winter. But we're exhausted, we're so tired.
We woke up on the final morning knowing that the hard work was done and we could just soak up the views one last time.
Ready to go home?
Time to go home. Let's go home.
And so we joined a dozen other passengers on the ferry, all of whom had just completed various stages of the Patagonia expedition. And as the ferry left, we got one last view of the adventure we just completed.